Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, man, we appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here around the water cooler tonight. You see our guy, the man, the myth, he in the chat, but now he with us on the show. Vandy Chris, we talking about Vanderbilt tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We breaking it down. Coming up next, right after this, Water Cooler Talk podcast. Let's go.
Boys and girls of all ages, you're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
You are now tuned in to Water Cooler Talks, covering everything you love about college football, especially everything going down in the SEC Conference. So, if you love college football, you need to lock in. And now, your hosts, Nick Frazier and Marcus Fitzpatrick.
Ladies and gentlemen, we back, man. We back. We are back around the water cooler. Man, we appreciate y'all so much, man. My name is Nick Frazier, one half of the Water Cooler Talk. And the man, the myth, the legend, you see him. Sometimes you hear him, because sometimes you don't see him. Tell him who you are, boss, man.
Marcus Fitzpatrick. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yes, we appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here around the water cooler. As always, man, we are the Water Cooler Talk podcast, man. And of course, we thank y'all so much for continuing to rock with us. And tonight, we got our guy with us. You see him all the time.
Yeah.
From it's SEC season.
Yeah.
Tez, what's up, Tez? How you feeling, Tez?
Feeling pretty good, man. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Everybody was wondering what Tez was. They was like, what Tez was?
Hey, I don't know I was. I seen him work at the BTW
at spring game.
Yeah, I was like, okay, there you go. There go my boy.
Yeah. I've been busy, man. It's graduation season, man.
That's
what's
what's
the
up.
camera out. I've been busy with that, man, but I'm back in the saddle.
That's what I'm saying. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, y'all see him. He be in the chat a lot. But he said last week when we talk about Vanderbilt, he wanted to come on and talk about it. And now he here. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Golden Broom podcast, the one, the only, Vandy Chris. Chris, what's up? How you feeling?
What is up, my fine gentlemen? I want to thank you, first of all, for letting me come on here. I know it's an Auburn podcast. I'm a Vandy fan. A lot of history between the two schools, but I'm ready to talk some Vanderbilt football. Let y'all know what we got in store waiting on you in Nashville.
Oh, boy. I'm telling y'all, man. Vanderbilt fans, they excited. They feel hot. After last year, something got in the juice up there. Something got in the juice in Nashville. I don't know what it is. It is what it is. We gonna figure it out, though. But we appreciate y'all so much, man, for rocking with us here around the water cooler. Before we get into it, as always, man, make sure y'all follow us on Facebook at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. As well, follow us on Twitter at CoolersPod23, and as well, make sure you subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell button here on YouTube so you know when we post more videos and when we go live. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the chat. I think we only got Auburn Dad in the chat right now. Maybe some other people will stop by. We got a couple of people watching. What's up, Auburn Dad? Hope you feeling good, my guy. He said this season Hugh burns on old ghosts and lost his pass and finally beats Pavia and Kill. All right. I'm telling you, man. Okay.
He's feeling it, ain't he?
Feeling it. He's feeling it, man. He's feeling it. He said a rare Vandy fan. That's he's a rare Vandy fan.
I mean, if you have the history that we've had in the last 80 years in football, you probably wouldn't be wasting your money on Auburn either. But let's be real about that. But hey, when we've had good teams, we've put people in our stadium, right?
Oh, okay. I mean, is that the reason why y'all adding on to the stadium? Is that the reason why?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm just saying it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, as y'all know, what we've been doing here on the show, we've been breaking down Auburn's 2025 football schedule. We started all the way at the beginning with Baylor. Then we went to Ball State. went to South Alabama. Then we traveled for our first SEC game on the road at Oklahoma. Went on the road again and talked about Texas A&M. Took a break, had an off week, had a bye week, and now we will be going up against. We went up against Georgia at home. First SEC home game at Georgia. Played Missouri. Talked about Missouri. Talked about Arkansas. Spoke about Kentucky on our last last show. And then tonight we are going to break down Vanderbilt football and the game between Auburn and Vanderbilt, which will be the 10th game of the season for Auburn. So this should be a good show. And as you all know how we do it here, when we do this, we talk about the offensive side of the ball. We talk about the defensive side of the ball. And then, of course, we give an overview of the team. We go over transfer portal, high school rankings. We look at some of the key players that's coming back, and we look at their rankings from last year, statistics from last year for offense and defense for the team that Auburn's going up against. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's not waste any time. We're just gonna talk. I'm not gonna put any other stuff up there. We're just gonna talk because this should be a really good conversation. Vanderbilt last year, 7-6 overall record, 3-5 in the SEC. Did better than Auburn. Everybody knows that happened. Auburn with 5-17, 2-6 in the SEC. All right. The storyline that most people want to attribute to this Auburn Vanderbilt saga, I would say, probably, I'm not even gonna say it's even Auburn and Vanderbilt. It's probably more Hugh Freeze, Jerry Kill is probably what people talk about. Because if you look at it, the past since Hugh Freeze has been at Auburn, which was the 2023 season, was his first 4 years as the head coach of Auburn football. He has lost to Jerry Kill 2 times. One against New Mexico State and one last year against Vanderbilt. So the storyline going into this game is not about, I don't know if it's Auburn Vanderbilt. I think what people are going to be trying to figure out is, can Hugh Freeze beat Jerry Kill? Can he get over the Jerry Kill hump? Can he do that? And it's not really much about Pavia, because Jerry Kill did this with another quarterback at another school when Pavia wasn't his quarterback. It's more about, can Hugh Freeze and this coaching staff figure out a way to get over the Jerry Kill hump? So let's start the show off with that question there. And I'm gonna ask Vandy Chris. Vandy Chris, tell me what you think about that. Your thoughts on it.
You actually forgot a game.
Yeah, which game did I forget?
Hugh Freeze, when he was at Liberty, also lost to Jerry Kill and Diego Pavia.
Yeah.
So that's 3 straight times he's lost.
Jesus Christ.
It just makes it worse, right? So at some point, does Hugh Freeze have the answers for Jerry Kill, or does Jerry Kill have a beat on his playbook? Something to think about.
That's the question right there. That's the question. That is the question. So what's your answer to that question, Vandy Chris? What do you think?
Sometimes certain coaches just have another coach's number. I think that could very well be the case. Jerry Kill, you remember where he came from, Northern Illinois. Took that program to a BCS bowl. Then he went to Minnesota. Beat Auburn while he was at Minnesota in the Music City Bowl.
Surely did.
And then now what he's done at New Mexico State, and then coming in as an assistant at Vanderbilt. I mean, it's something to be considered.
I think it's something to be considered, because I don't know. There was a story out. Shout out to the DC from Auburn Aggies. I think he said there was a story out where they said that they wanted that Hugh Freeze actually wanted to get Jerry Kill on his staff at one point in time. That's what it was. You can't beat him. Hey, come over here and help me out. Show me the deficiencies in my plan. You know what it is. Tez, what's your thoughts on that, man?
I want to say that Jerry Kill has his number, but I think it's more so about they played a brand of football that's the kryptonite to the brand of football that Hugh Freeze wants to play. All right, Hugh Freeze wants to put this ball down the field. He wants to make big plays. He talks about those 50-50 balls all the time. And if you're on the other side of the field, how do you beat that? Ground and pound, play defense, possess the ball. And if you look at the teams that they beat, they did the same thing to Alabama: ground and pound, possess the ball, play solid defense. This is the path to beating a team that wants to be a high scoring team.
Ball control.
And if you're gonna go 3 and outs, if you're gonna take risk and hunt big plays, then we're gonna sit on the ball and we're gonna make it a close game. Yeah, and I think it's more so about that than it specifically being Jerry Kill. I just think Jerry Kill is really good at that. So yeah, I think that's more so. I wouldn't, and it's built this rivalry because he's running to this guy with 3 stops now. No, 2 stops. So yeah, it's building that rivalry in that fashion. But like, I think any team we play that plays that brand of football is gonna give Hugh Freeze trouble.
Marcus, your thoughts?
I gotta agree. This is one of my sleeper games. So, like, because we go to Vandy and we playing him. So it's just like, when I think about that, I'm like, this game right here can get away from us if we're not careful. So, and for the reasons Ted said, I was gonna say the exact same thing. So I can't really just keep elaborating because I'd be beating a dead horse. But for the reasons Ted said is the reasons why I honestly think that this game can get away from us because of time and possession. That's what Vandy likes to do versus us. We like to move the ball very quickly. And that combats what Hugh Freeze likes to do.
Okay. All right, man. So let's get into it, man. We talked about the offense. So Tim Beck is the offensive coordinator. He was actually with Jerry Kill at New Mexico State as well. Jerry Kill, I don't know what his official title is. I think he's assistant to the head coach or something like that.
Just an offensive assistant.
Just offensive assistant. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So if you're looking at Vanderbilt's offense, you're looking at what I just did. I try to do my research just so I can kind of see I try to do it like a coach. I try to see what they do best. How can you stop it? And how effective is it? Well, we saw how effective it was. And basically everybody on this panel tonight basically said that they are a ball control type offense, especially when you got a guy like Pavia at quarterback, who is a threat. I just call him a football player. He's just gonna figure out a way to make a play. He's gonna figure out a way to get a play, make a first down, get the team in the right position. He's just a gamer. To me, he's like, and don't take this the wrong way. To me, he's like the great value Tim Tebow, if you think about it. I don't want people to take that the wrong way. I just take he's like the great value Tim Tebow, like just gonna will my team to victory. We're just gonna figure out a way to make it happen. Vandy Chris, you may disagree with me this. I don't think there's a lot of talent around on this offensive side of the ball. You got Junior Sherrill, you got Cedric Alexander, Eli Stowe is there. But just looking at what they want to do, they want to run first. They want to control the ball. From looking at the team last year, I consider them to be. I think they're like a run spread option scheme. So it's kind of like an RPO play action type scheme, but they want to do it out of the pistol formation. A majority of the things I saw them do, they did it out of the pistol formation. They'll use some motions, and they'll use different personnel groupings as well when they have the chance to come around. So you may see them do it out of 11 personnel. They may use multiple tight ends. They may do it out of 12 personnel. They may put 3 tight ends on. Who knows what they'll do? But they'll do it out of multiple situations. And you never really saw them throw the ball down the field a lot last year. And I'm gonna get to that later on because when I looked at their portal class, they didn't have a lot of receivers come in. They had a lot of defensive linemen and edges that they had transfer in.
I mean, they're gonna see what's working, Nick.
Well, they had a lot of D linemen transfer in. They had a lot of edges transfer out. But what they did, they had 4 offensive tackles and 2 interior offensive linemen transfer in. And I was just looking at it, but they only had like 3 receivers transfer in, and then like one of the receivers, 2 of them didn't play last year or something like that, but one of them came from Washburn University, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But your thoughts on this offense, Vandy Chris? Are you satisfied with it? Do you think that this style of offense is something that is not going to be a surprise anymore to teams in the conference? And if Vanderbilt still decides to utilize this type of offense moving forward, do you think defensive coordinators have now figured out how to stop it? Or should we expect something different from this offense coming up this season?
I think you're gonna see the same thing.
Okay.
Ball control.
Okay.
Limit your turnovers.
Okay.
A lot of eye candy and movement pre-snap to confuse your defenders, which 9 times out of 10 when they made big plays down the field, that's what caused it, was the eye candy. You do have the weapons. Seti Alexander can break one at any time.
Okay.
He's more of a 5-6 yards, and down kind of guy, but he does have the ability to break it. Eli Stowers, think about this. He's the number 1 graded tight end in college football returning. He's only played tight end for 1 season and didn't even practice at tight end in the offseason leading up to that. That's talent.
Okay.
So what you'll see him come in, report as an eligible receiver, line up on the end of the line as a blocker, and then run an out pattern. You're going to confuse some linebackers with that kind of playmaking and those kinds of movements.
Okay.
I like what they've done on the offensive line. The number 1 offensive lineman in the entire portal came to Vandy. And
Jordan Matthews?
Jordan Matthews is the kid from Tennessee, plays defense.
Yeah, my bad. I'm saying it wrong. Is it hold up, I got it pulled up right here.
Jordan White.
Jordan White, yes.
Yep. So what happened at the end of the year last year's, Pavia was hurt, right? He got hurt in the South Carolina game. He was never the same after that. Slowed him down quite a bit. So you have to protect him, right?
Okay.
So what they did, they went out and got offensive linemen that are bigger, stronger, faster to protect Pavia. So I expect to see the same type of offense this year as what we had last year. We're going to pick our spots. So we're not just going to line up and say, we're going to throw it deep on you. We're going to pick our spots. Run the RPO stuff. If it's there, take it.
It sound like y'all confident, man. That's what it sound like. It sound like y'all confident. It seems as if from the tone I'm hearing, it seems as if y'all like, man, we gonna beat y'all again. That's what it sound like. That's what it sound like, man. Chris, that's what it sound like, Chris. That's what it sound like to me. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. And all the fans here feel the same way. They feel the same way.
We got to get that all-time record back. It's 22-22-2 now. We got to get that record back.
All right. Marcus, what you thinking, man?
Hey, man. It feels like they're going to be committed to what's working, time, possession, and ball control. Me, like I said, man, I think this is a game that us as Auburn fans, we need to pay close attention to. This ain't no sleeping game. Vanderbilt probably will give us a run for our money this year. So I just don't want y'all to just come in this game like this is just a for sure win. This might not go our way.
I'm gonna ask this question. I won't tell you to answer this. Vandy Chris, you brought up a point. You brought up something else. You said that Pavia was hurt at the end of last season, right? So Tez, I want to ask you this question: do you think defenses are going to allow Pavia to do what he did last year? Does Pavia make it through the season?
That's a strong question.
I mean, that's a good question. Whenever you have a quarterback that's going to be taking a lot of snaps and running the football like that, in the fashion that he run the football, he's a big kid, but that he does take a lot of hits. Could he make it through the season? I don't know. I don't know. I'd give it if I had to give it a percentage, I'd say 85% chance that he makes it through, 15% chance that he doesn't.
That's still pretty strong.
That's strong. But here's the thing about it. I just don't. I like Pavia as a prospect, but the way that they run offense, I'm sure that they have somebody else that can do it. I don't how many. I think they have like 5 or 6 quarterbacks on their roster. Am I correct? Like, do they have like a ton of quarterbacks in the quarterback room?
Yeah,
I'm almost sure one of those guys fits the bill to be able to not be Pavia, but run that offense the way they want to run it. And what makes them so dangerous and a problem for a lot of teams is not so much the stuff that they do in the run game, is that like Vandy Chris said, they pick their shots. They will throw the ball deep down the field just for the sake of throwing the ball deep down the field, just so you know that they have that in their arsenal. And they do it at the most unimaginable times, 4th and 2s, 3rd and 2s. It's just like at these times where you just not even thinking that. You're just thinking like they have this amazing run game. They do this amazing stuff in the run game. 3rd and 2, clearly they're just going to pick up these 2 yards. Got everybody in tight, and then all of a sudden they play action at 40 yards down the field. And after a team does that to you, it's very tough to stop that run game. So like, I don't know. I don't know if he makes it throughout the season, but like I said, the way that the game plan of run the ball and play defense, you can substitute players in it and it still be effective, is what I'm saying.
Looking at some of the guys that's gonna be some of the we mentioned some of them already. Diego Pavia is gonna be the quarterback. Eli Stowers, tight end. Cedric Alexander, running back. Junior Sherrill is going to be a wide receiver. But they're gonna need another option at the wide receiver to go alongside Junior Sherrill. If when they do decide they want to throw the ball downfield, because if they don't, it's going to be predictable who they're going to throw the ball to. Junior Sherrill. If I don't know, if everybody don't know, on NCAA 25, I use Vanderbilt as my dynasty team. I've built up my whole dynasty. We've won like 7 national championships, stuff like that. It's amazing. It's amazing. We're now a 5-star program on NCAA 25. Trey Richardson, guy from Washburn University. He was first team All MIAA wide receiver last year, and he was an honorable mention All MIAA as a returner in that conference. 983 yards. Do you think? I'm gonna ask Vandy Chris. Vandy, because you closer to the program than we are. We just see the peripheral outside part of it. Can he be the second option, or maybe 1B to Junior Sherrill?
I actually think it's going to be somebody else.
Really? Okay. Ooh.
We actually got Trent Hudson from Mississippi State.
Well, he didn't play much last year either.
True. But he was at New Mexico State before he went to Mississippi State.
Okay.
In 2023, he caught 36 balls and 10 touchdowns from Pavia.
Okay.
So they've got that connection already.
Good analysis.
I think he's gonna play a big role. I think Chance Fitzgerald from Virginia Tech is going to play a big role.
That's a good one too.
So, yeah, I believe it's going to be playmaking by committee. And of course, you've seen the possession hands of Junior Sherrill. You saw him do it against Alabama. He's a possession type receiver that can make the big play.
All right. You heard it there from Vandy Chris, Vanderbilt super fan. You heard it from him, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Tez.
No, I was about to say in the standard for them for like in their offense, the standard for receiver play, the bar is not as high as we're probably thinking. I think the leading receiver was Stowers last year. I don't think he cracked nowhere near 1,000. The second receiver probably had less than 500 yards. In order for this offense to be effective, you don't need gaudy numbers from the receiver play.
Yeah, you're not going to see a 1,000-yard receiver at Vanderbilt.
But my question, but the question I'm asking is, and I asked this question earlier. I said, do you think that defenses are now going to understand what Vanderbilt wants to do. And let's just say, you know, Brent Venables is going to be calling plays now in the SEC. Texas defense. I think I have to go to Texas this year, right? Vanderbilt has to go to Texas. You all have to play Florida as well, right? You don't have to play Florida this year?
Nope.
Did y'all play them last year?
Nope.
Oh, the year before last year. Okay,
we got the same schedule that we had last year.
The same as last year. That's right. It was the year before last year. But I mean, when you look at the defenses in the conference and things stuff like that, I mean, DJ Durkin. I'm just gonna say it. DJ Durkin is gonna be better this year. He's gonna have a lot of guys back on Auburn side. That's another year in the system that were young guys last year. What makes great defenses great is the fact that they take away what you do best. So knowing that Pavia is going to be there and Pavia is going to, and we're going to try to run the offense through Pavia, and now we're going to try to take away what you do best, and then even the legendary defensive minds take away your second best option. So my thing is, what is Vanderbilt's second option on offense when ball control and running the ball and trying to control the clock is not in their favor? That's my question, because I honestly feel like a lot of these teams in the SEC are going to try to take that away, because Pavia, I mean, he's on the scene now. He's not that miss that's just gonna pop up behind you and you don't know he's coming. We know he's coming now, you know, because Vanderbilt made noise last year. It made noise. Is the reason why people don't trust me. Side note, Mississippi State can be a bowl eligible team. I know everybody don't believe me, but Mississippi State gonna come up on a lot of teams like Miss this year. But this is the thing though. Do you not think that defenses are not going to be game planning for that? Is my question. So, and if that's the question, in that vein, what is Vanderbilt's next best thing, which would have to be Pavia throwing the ball? Whether it's throwing it deep down the field, showing his touch in the mid range, in the mid range, in the midfield throws. Like, what is that second thing that we do? Because what we saw them do last year was just control the clock, and run the ball very well.
So our next weapon is going to be not turning the ball over, and forcing the other team to do that.
Right.
We were second in the nation in takeaway advantages last year.
Okay.
So you have to continue that. Let your defense force turnovers and don't turn it over as an offense. A defense can game plan for our scheme, but be able to make the plays and take the ball away from us. Can they do that?
All right, so I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna just give you an example. LSU. You had to play LSU at home. Mm-hmm. So let's say LSU's defense, which I think the front seven part of LSU defense is going to be a lot better with Jack Popburn, Patrick Patterson, and Harold Perkins Jr., who's all going to be back on that front seven part. Three guys that can rush the pass and that can easily get to the quarterback. When they stop the run, are you telling me that Vanderbilt is going to be able to throw the ball behind them?
It's not going to matter.
Yeah, it's just been say. I was just going to say it's going to be about field position, bro.
Yeah,
but here's my question. Here's my question though. But you have Garrett Nussmeier, and you have offense. Garrett Nussmeier threw for 4,000 yards last year.
That's true.
And he has weapons at wide receiver on the outside that can go up and catch that thing and turn a 10-yard pass into a touchdown. So I'm just saying, like, if Vanderbilt gets behind, what can Vanderbilt do in that case to keep the game close or interesting? Like, what is that second thing that they can do? So are we just saying that they're playing from the position? They're playing defense with offense? Is that what we're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is their identity, bro. Like, they're gonna do what Vanderbilt do. They're gonna play field position and clock management. It's never gonna be a game where you see Vanderbilt just get the doors beat off of them because they're gonna milk the clock too much.
But so let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you get a defense in here that's a really good run stopping defense. Let's say you get a defense in here that can stop the run. Like Vanderbilt's not getting 4 or 5 yards average in this game. They're getting 1-2 in this game. So basically,
Auburn,
if you get 1-2
what
yards,
Auburn did to us last year.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that's what I'm saying. But then, but we all can sit here and say that Auburn's offense was not as high powered as everybody thought they would be, and that's a whole nother conversation. But let's say you get LSU, who has a defense that can stop the run, that's only averaging, that's only allowing you to get 2 yards per rush. But then on the flip side, you actually have a team that has an offense that can actually put up yards. We're gonna put up points easily. So
we're gonna do the same thing we did last year.
Okay,
milk the clock and keep it close.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize we went to Baton Rouge last year.
Okay.
LSU's vastly more talented. Has that same 4,000-yard quarterback playing for him. That was a 7-point ball game.
Now, let's be fair. Let's be fair about that. LSU's defense was not up to par last year. That defense was boo-boo. It was just like running knife through a hot knife through butter. It wasn't that good.
What about the Texas game?
That's a good
3-point. That's a 3-point game with a great defense and a great offense.
Yeah,
that's a good point. But here's the question though: wasn't Texas up like 4 touchdowns in that game? And did Texas let their foot off the gas? Did Texas let their foot off the gas?
No, but they didn't take their foot off the gas. We were able to force them into turnovers in the second half.
All right. Okay. All right.
So this reminds me of a conversation that we had last year during it was after the Vanderbilt Alabama game, and I made the argument that you cannot beat Vanderbilt on defense, right? Your defense is not going to beat Vanderbilt. Your offense has to beat Vanderbilt. You have to drive the ball. You have to possess the ball. You have to take care of the football. That's the only way you're gonna give this team trouble. Because specifically because I'm thinking about the Alabama game because I remember this specifically. They almost scored too fast at times.
Who, Vanderbilt?
Alabama.
Alabama. Okay.
They almost scored too fast at times. I remember they scored and then Vanderbilt got the ball and just drove it down the field. And at some point, the clock becomes your enemy. And it's just tough to beat a team like this if you specifically think about the defense stopping them because they don't care. They're trying to get 10 yards at a time. It's hard for any defense to stop them from doing that. They're not necessarily trying to put points on the board. They want to end in the kick or end in the kick with an extra point or a field goal, but they want to march the ball down the field and keep the ball in Pavia's hand majority of the game.
But to my question though, when you have really good defensive minds that are like, look, I'm gonna take away what you do best. What's the next option? Because is it handing the ball off to Cedric Alexander? That's my question.
Well, the thing about it is, Nick, at that situation, if they get stopped, they're gonna punt the ball, pin you deep, and depend on their defense.
Here's my and we're hold up. This is a good segue. Let's get into the defensive side for Vanderbilt. This is a good segue. So punt the ball, pin you deep. Hold that thought. On the defensive side of the ball, Steve Gregory, who has been in the NFL assistant for a lot of teams. I think Detroit, I think the Dolphins as well. Don't quote me on that, but I know he was at Detroit. I can't pronounce the other guy's name, who's the co-DC, Nick Lazinski. I hope I'm saying his name right. Yes. He's the co-DC. Clark Lee is the head coach. Last year, Clark Lee was calling plays for this defense. This year, reading the article, he's saying that he's stepping away from play calling duties on the defensive side of the ball to be more of a CEO of the football team. And you promote a guy to the to a defensive coordinator position that has never called a defense at any level. This is different. Now. This is a different situation. And so what can we expect from Vanderbilt's defense? And Vandy, Chris, you are closer to the program than we are. So I'm literally asking, like, as an Auburn fan trying to understand, because I know that Clark Lee likes to run a 4-2-5 defense, which is a nickel style defense. I know he likes to be creative with blitzes and he likes to bring them at unopportune times. It's a very dominant, it's a very aggressive, it's a very almost kind of physical style defense. I don't know what Gregory and Lazinski is going to do on defense. Are they going to, because we've seen this at Auburn when it comes to offensive side of the ball. If you're going to take his defense and you're going to implement it and try to run it yourself, it may not look the same because the guy that wants to do it knows what his defense wants to do, and another guy calling it may not know the intricacies of it, and this guy hasn't called a defense at all. So to that point, what is your take to that? And that's the reason why I asked the question about LSU. I was just waiting for somebody to talk about defense because Clark Lee's not calling plays on the defense side of the defense side of the ball anymore. It's a different guy. And it's different when there's a different voice coming through. So your thoughts on that? Just tell. Literally I want to know.
So Lazinski was his right-hand man last year.
Okay.
Every decision that was made defensively was made. Clark Lee had the final say on what to do.
Okay.
But Lazinski was right there with him, making suggestions on what to do. So this defense is going to have Clark Lee's fingerprints all over it. And half of the time, Lazinski was the one actually calling plays last year. He just didn't have the title of defensive coordinator. And Clark Lee was he was the face he was saying, this is my defense. I'm in charge of it. Even if Lazinski was calling plays, it was still Clark Lee's defense and he was in charge.
This sounds like Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix. That's what it sounds like. And I'm just being completely honest with you. It sounds like Hugh Freeze and Derek Nix 2.0.
But I like what Marcus said about we're going to punt it. We're going to pin you deep. Because most teams across the country, I mean, you've got your Ohio States and teams like that. They're going to be able to drive the ball 80 yards and score on somebody. Most of the teams in the SEC aren't built like that. They're not going to be able to drive the ball 80 yards consistently.
Let's not have this conversation because I had this conversation last week telling y'all that the Big Ten and the SEC gap is like this. But people want to say that it ain't. People want to tell me that what I'm seeing with my eyes is not it. But I'm telling you, I'm looking at the bottom half of the Big Ten and I'm like, Nebraska could have beat Auburn last year. I'm just being real. But hey, go ahead. With it.
And I'm not saying anything negative about any particular team. It's just that in the SEC, most of your teams aren't built where they can drive the field 80 yards every single time they have the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just not built that way.
Very true.
Most of your teams are built quick strike, throw it down the field, get a big play. That's not ball possession, drive it down the field.
It's not sexy for recruiting.
No, when you get a punter that can pop you inside that 20-yard line every single time, your offense is in trouble.
Well, okay, here's my comeback to that. When I look at Auburn's offense last year, Auburn did not have a problem driving the ball from the goal line to their 20. Auburn's problem came when it got in the red zone. Last in the red zone efficiency, I believe it was like 78%. They were in the red zone.
Do you know what causes that?
Let me know. Explain.
Playmakers in space.
Okay.
You're there to make big plays. Once it gets shrunk up on you and you don't have that space, you're handcuffed.
So here's the thing. I just want people to know. When I said, and this, because I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said is not built like teams in the Big Ten. Is that what you said? I just want to make sure you said that right.
The offensive teams in the SEC are not built to drive the field 80 yards.
I said last week that the bottom half of the Big Ten, the bottom half of the SEC, the gap had closed. People was like, no, it's not. I just said it. I saw it. And I looked at it and I was like, it's not that wide. It's not that wide. I still think the SEC is above by a tad,
Because they got better playmakers and they can make the explosive plays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just what you said, that gap is closed. Yeah. It's not, and I'm gonna give you the best example. If y'all remember in the national championship game with Ohio State and Florida, Ohio State came out, scored again. I think Ohio State was up like 21-0. Florida, all Florida did was just gonna drive the ball downfield and just kept scoring on Ohio State. Just kept scoring on Ohio State. Ohio State could do nothing. Because what did Ohio State have? Just what you said. Playmakers in space. That was the difference. And when it got to the point to where you just had to just bang, Florida just had it, and Ohio State couldn't handle it. So, exactly. And when you look at what the offenses in the SEC look like now, they look like that. That's what they kind of look almost like that now. Mm-hmm. You look at the Ryan Williamses, you look at the Eric Singletons, you look at the Kevin Colemans, you look at the Noah Thomases, you look at Georgia going to get a Zachariah Branch to come be one of their receivers. It's not these guys are playmakers in space, but when you get in the red zone, it's kind of hard to score. And when it compensates, there's a compensation there that when you have that, you don't really have those big bruising backs anymore, which you don't really have much of those anyway, because a lot of those guys are being recruited as linebackers, which is the problem. So you don't have those guys that are playing linebacker now that would have been playing running back because they're now being recruited as linebackers out of high school. Just the way football has changed. But I mean, it is my bad. I didn't mean to go off on that rant.
No, you're making a great point. I don't know. I don't know if that actually means better though. Like, it's just a different brand of football from what we're used to seeing in the SEC.
That's what I was getting.
Very different.
Very different.
Better teams are the top of the big, like the Michigans and Ohio States. I still like this. I don't think that means better, just a different form.
See, and that's a classic game right there was Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State's a far better team, right? They had playmakers that could make explosive plays all over the place. Michigan was more of a
ground and pound.
I'm going to make you make plays inside the 20, and when you ain't got the space to do it, you're handcuffed.
Yeah.
Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Jordan Matthews transfer in from Tennessee, cornerback, safety. Keanu Knott, edge linebacker. Randall Fontenette. Hope I'm saying his last name correct. Is he going to be playing that anchor position for the defense? It's like the star position that the kind of hybrid linebacker, safety, cornerback type guy.
Yep.
And then, of course, you got Martell Height, cornerback coming back, Langston Patterson, and Brian Longwell at linebacker that'll be back as well. Overall, how do you feel about this defense, Vandy, Chris?
I'm excited about this defense. Very excited. Patterson's a playmaker.
Okay.
Longwell's a playmaker. We have a safety that's a sophomore that started every single game last year, Dante Carter, playmaker. You getting some help with Martell Height. He struggles at times, but now you're getting some new blood in there with Jordan Matthews, who's been in the playoffs and played for a team in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's an upgrade in talent. And then you add the kid from Florida Atlantic, C.J. Hurd, that had 82 tackles last year.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 4 guys on that defense that had 73 or more tackles. I'm here for that kind of football. I mean, we haven't had numbers like that returning on defense in years.
Okay.
I'm here for it.
Okay. Tez, what's your thoughts on it?
Man, you gotta love being able to call a defense if you call a defense if we get off the field and then we don't have to get on the field for another 10 minutes. Because the offense is out there. And, you're not taking a lot of snaps. Calling defense is probably a little bit easier. I've never called defense before, so I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert. But I would imagine it's a little bit easier when you don't have to do it as much during the game. Versus when your defense is on the field a lot all the time. So man, they just like I said, bro, the brand of football that they play is going to help them out on both sides of the football. It's complementary football. It is one side complements the other. It puts you in a position as the opponent to try to do something outside of what you normally do. Like you said, not a lot of teams in the SEC are built to play that brand of football. But in order to beat a team like that, you kind of gotta start trying to put drives together. And if you're not built to do that, then it looks like, what we look like against that defense trying to drive the ball down the field. I think that I don't think that the defense is like I don't look at Vanderbilt's talent as like world beaters, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just enough talent. It's SEC talent, and it's a brand of football that enhances the talent that you have on the field, both offensively and defensively, if that makes sense.
I agree with that, Tez. And I actually was going to say, the thing that's special about Vandy is, especially as of late, they play discipline. And with them being disciplined, they take their time. No matter what's going on, they don't panic. And with them getting the veteran pieces on defense, all that lets me know is they're going to trust those pieces to come in and be disciplined and rely on the system to like Ted said, both sides of the ball balance each other. So they're going to rely on that to get takeaways. Those veteran pieces are going to stick with the system and stick with the plan and be patient, even when the game ain't going their way, to figure it out, to get back in situations. And that's what you get when you get veteran and experienced pieces.
And intelligent too. I mean, it's not.
You're going to Vandy. You got to be
smart kids.
Yeah,
these are not smart kids. These are smart kids, and it's probably easy to teach a system to kids that can comprehend it. And used to taking information and comprehending it at a high level. They probably don't spend a lot of time on installs.
I actually like how Coach Lee addresses what he wants out of his team. He says, you have to be intentional about what you do, and you have to play like you have a chip on your shoulder. That's it. That gives you an edge playing with a chip on your shoulder. If it's me against the world, I'm bringing everything I got.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. We've hyped up Vanderbilt a lot. Let's get to it. All right, let's talk about this. All right, I want to get y'all thoughts on this game. Preliminary. I know we got about 199 days before the season starts for Auburn. I want to go through. I want everybody to go. If y'all want me to go first, I go. Yeah, it is what it is. But who wins the game? Who wins the game? This has been a great conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saw Robert right here. Robert said, "This Vanderbilt guy is scaring me, saying these balls. The defense is going to be good." So we have talked Vanderbilt up, but as y'all know, we talk about Auburn on this channel a lot, and we have dissected this roster and talked about what Auburn has coming back, what they got in the portal, and the upgrades that we have had on this roster, and what coaches have said about the upgrades on this roster. So now that we know from the perspective of Vanderbilt and a Vanderbilt fan, what we talk about on this show when we talk about Auburn football. I want to ask y'all this question. It's for the chat as well too. Who wins the game? And tell me why you think they win the game. I'm gonna start with Marcus. I want to hear what Marcus got to say.
You don't want to hear what I got to say.
I do.
I got Auburn losing that game 24-21.
Wow. Okay.
I think Vandy wins that because they're at home. I think they, if I'm not wrong, Vandy Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I was reading correctly, y'all returned the top overall production in the SEC or around the top overall production in the SEC coming back this year.
Yes.
I think that's going to be probably a situation where Auburn coming off a win in Kentucky and we overlooking Vandy. I know how us Auburn fans saying we won't overlook Vandy, but if the season starts going how we want it to go, we're going to overlook Vandy because we're going to think Vandy is still Vandy. And that's the situation. If we roll into Vandy and play Vandy like they still Vandy, we can lose that game.
We could lose that game. Okay. In the words of Marcus. Vandy Chris, what's your thoughts? Who wins and why?
So last year, Vanderbilt averaged 318 yards per game offensively. Like he's stuck in the mud, right? But they also were scoring at 29 points a game clip.
Okay.
So their defense was getting them the ball in short yardage situations. They weren't having to drive the ball 80 yards every time they got it.
Okay.
When you play to your strength and to your ability, you are intentional about what you do. You give yourself the best chance to win.
Okay.
This game is in Nashville.
Okay.
It's in November.
Okay.
It's likely to either be cold and or wet. Having all those athletes at the wide receiver position when it's cold and wet doesn't help you. I think Vanderbilt wins this game 36-23 and won't be our last one of the year.
36-23 from Vandy Chris. Wow.
That's
wow. All right, sis.
All right. So, and I get everything I've said about Vanderbilt. I know that, right? But just the way I think that this season is going to go, I look at that game for Vanderbilt that's coming off at Texas, which I expect to be a very physical game for Vanderbilt and Texas. You come into Auburn in November. One interesting thing I looked up while we was all talking, I looked this up. If you look at it, every game they lost last year, every game Vanderbilt lost, they got outran in. Even Georgia, was it Georgia State, Georgia Southern? Georgia State. Yeah, they were able to run the football. So I asked myself, can we do that? And I think that we are going to have an offense that is going to be capable of driving the ball down the field, going to be capable of scoring in the red zone. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Auburn in that game. And I'm going to go with Auburn pretty handily in like a 35-14 game. I think that we are more physical up front. Like we said, we saw this team last year, and I think you kind of realize after you play them that like we could have just pushed them around if we wanted to. We didn't have to do anything special. We could have just lined up and pushed them around. We're bigger, faster, stronger than they are. And I think that we approach that game in the same fashion. This year, probably see a lot of 10 personnel from us, which means that Damari Austin is going to have a lot of light boxes to run into. I expect that to happen that game. And if they do decide to stack the box against 10 personnel, we have the receivers on the outside to run the score up. Yeah, I'm going Auburn 35-14.
Yeah, man, we hyped up Vanderbilt. We did a great job of that tonight. And I'm happy we did that because you never look over an opponent. You never look over an opponent. You don't. That's what you don't do. But in the SEC, where it is won at is in the trenches. And who has the edge in the trenches? On both sides of the ball. I will argue Auburn. You have Connor Lew at center. You have Wright and Wade at guards. You have Xavier Chaplin, who's going to be your left tackle. It looks as seems it's going to be Mason Murphy at the right tackle. I've said before, I think Auburn has a top two potentially at least top 3 offensive line in the SEC when it's all said and done. You get over to the defensive side of the ball. You have a guy that's projected to be a top 3 pick. Some say the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft next year, in Keldrick Falk, who I expect to just add on to what he did last year. He potentially could have a 60 tackle year this year, potentially 11, 12 plus sacks. He's in that range. And then on the other side, I think a lot of people are not looking at what Keyron Crawford potentially brings to this defense as well, coming off the edge. You look at the middle, Malik Blockton, Travis Johnson. Then you have the guys behind them. Everybody knows how I feel about Jordan Crawford. Everybody knows how I feel about Malik Autry. You went and got Dallas Walker IV, who was on the Texas A&M team, who was a highly touted guy coming out of high school. Went to Texas A&M, transferred to West Kentucky, and is now back. And is at Auburn. Big guy. Linebacking core, of course, probably you can say is the weakest, but there's a lot of athletes there, a lot of young talent at that linebacker position. The secondary is going to be the strength of Auburn's defense off top. You potentially can rotate 6 guys in between the cornerbacks and the nickelback position. You literally have 3 guys that can. You really have a depth, a 1 deep, and a 2 deep of guys you can rotate in all game. At all. If Vanderbilt wants to throw the ball down the field, the secondary is not going to let it happen. And even when you get to the offensive side of the ball and you look at the wide receiver core, which I think, to your point, Chris, that if it is raining, it will stifle the offense. But because of the fact of what Auburn's going to put on tape going up to that game, I think running lanes are going to be open for Auburn in this game. I think you see Damari Austin have a big game. I think you see Jeremiah Cobb come in and have a pretty good game behind that. And not to mention, Jackson Arnold has the legs and has the ability to get out of the pocket and run and scramble and make plays as well too.
And Nate, not to cut you off, I think that would be the reason. But outside of that, my question to you is, do you think Hugh Freeze will commit to the run enough to win that game?
I was getting ready to get to that. So when you look at that and you see exactly what this offense wants to do, and looking at what, to the point that Tez made earlier about, we didn't have to do anything special last year, that we really could have just lined up and just played football against these guys and ran the ball and won the game, because you did it 2 weeks before against Kentucky with Jarquez Hunter. I honestly feel as if this is a different year for Hugh Freeze mindset wise when it comes to calling plays, because he has everything that he wants. We know he's going to throw the ball, but when it comes to the situational stuff, and like I said, to everybody that sits, every Auburn fan that listens to this and says that you have to see it to believe it, wholeheartedly agree with you. But I honestly believe that when it comes to situational game planning with Hugh Freeze this year, you're going to see a different offense when it comes to that. And so, will he lean on what works? I would lean towards yes, because there are other factors outside of that that's got that constitute him actually. If he doesn't, there could be problems if that doesn't happen. So this season for Auburn is about winning games, and what helps you win a game week by week. What helps you win a game this week probably won't help you win a game next week. You just got to feel how the game goes. So in that case, I think this is still a close game. I think every game Auburn plays this year, whether Auburn loses or wins, I think it's going to be a close win or a close loss. I'm looking at this game. If you look at that game, I'm saying this game probably ends up being somewhere in the range of like a 28-24 type game. Auburn is what I see. I do give respect to Vanderbilt's defense, because I think Fontenette is a dog. I think that dude is legit. I think he's an NFL player, actually. And I think he's gonna be all over the field. You look at the linebacker core. When you have 2 great linebackers that have been in the system a long period of time, well, I'm not saying long period of time, but have been in the system a significant amount of time, and they know the system, that helps out a lot. Which is the reason why I feel like Elijah Melendez, DeMarcus Riddick, those type of guys, once they start playing together and they get more time together and things, stuff like that, they're going to be dangerous as well. But when you have those linebackers, 2 guys, I believe both of them are seniors, if I'm not mistaken, they'll be back. I do give their defense credit and the fact that Clark Lee is a defensive guy. I still feel like, to your point, I still feel like Clark Lee's handprint is going to be over this defense. And now knowing that Lazinski was the one that was helping him call plays last year, I mean, maybe, with him knowing it and him kind of understanding the vein of what the defense is supposed to be, it may not be that much drop off. But to that point, I think at the end of the day, when it comes to the trenches, and then when it just comes to overall talent, I think Auburn ends up winning this game. I think it's a 28-24 game. Auburn.
Question for you, Nick.
Go ahead.
You're on record saying that you see Auburn winning 10 games this year, right?
I do.
So if we win, I think you said Auburn loses Arkansas and Oklahoma, correct?
Yep, 2 road games.
All right. So if we win Arkansas, could you see us coming into this game overlooking Vandy?
No.
And Vandy being a sleeper game that you
I don't think Vanderbilt is a sleeper anymore to Hugh Freeze. I'm just gonna be real. I'm just gonna be real. I don't think Van is a sleeper. And you gotta understand where I'm coming from for this. At Liberty, he lost to them at Liberty. However that game panned out, you can say talent-wise, both teams were kind of equal. You can say that. I wholeheartedly believe that New Mexico State game, Auburn just came in and just was like, hey, it's a homecoming game. We're just gonna try to win this game and just try to get it out. But not coming in, taking it seriously, and just like, all right, it is what it is. Let's just do it. Let's just try to get out. But New Mexico State came in and actually tried to win the game. They was coming in to win the play game. Last year, I don't know what happened with Hugh Freeze last year. I'm just gonna be real. Because even with that offense, Auburn still should have won that game. I don't understand it. It was a 10-point game. It was a 7-7 game going into the fourth quarter. It's a 7-7 game going into the fourth quarter.
That favors
you at home.
A 7-7 game going into the fourth quarter favors the team that can drive the ball down the field.
Exactly.
It favors the team with inferior talent.
Exactly.
So basically, that I'm taking from you, Nick, Hugh Freeze has a tendency to play down the competition.
Of course. That's something that I've already said. I've been said that. That's not nothing that I have not said on this channel, on this show.
So that wouldn't worry you in a season where
I think it's different this year, man. I think as much as
it would be different for us.
As much as Hugh Freeze wants to say he doesn't feel pressure, trust me, he feels pressure.
But listen though, Nick, this is the 10th game. At this point of the season, we will be on our high horse if everything is going according to what you project.
That's true.
Okay.
So this game could easily be a game that we overlook and don't play down to competition.
Not after you just lost to this guy 2 years before. So you mean to tell me? So you mean to tell me you lost to this guy 2 years before, and you can't sit in and understand that? Okay, I need to actually put a game plan to this dude and figure out how to win.
So
I actually think there's going to be more on the table than that. Because I don't know if I'm sure you guys have seen it. There's a video floating around the interwebs of one Hugh Freeze talking about he understands if he don't win now, he's getting fired.
Yeah.
His exact words are, I see the writing on the wall. So if you're saying that in May, you got problems. And they're big, and they're bigger than any talent you can overcome.
So my thing is this: like in this year, I think this is a very crucial year. This is the year. As much as he says there is no pressure, there is pressure. There's pressure, and when there's pressure, you act differently. You know what I'm saying? You have to figure out how to win. So if running the ball is helping us win the game, guess what? I'm gonna keep running the ball until it stops. If throwing the ball is helping us win the game, guess what? I'm gonna keep trying to figure out a way to get the ball in my playmaker's hand to help us win the game. I think this year is all about Auburn trying to find ways to win games.
Well,
against teams they're supposed to beat. But go ahead.
Even last year, bro. I'm looking at these stats, the box score from last year. We threw for more yards than them. We ran for more yards than them. We had more receiving yards from them. We had more people catch the ball. They only beat us in one category.
Time of possession.
It's turnovers.
What about time of possession?
Turnovers? Time of possession, they beat us too, but
yeah,
turnovers. This is a big thing. We fumbled the ball, they recovered it. That extra possession, we lost by pretty much a possession and a field goal.
Basically.
So, it wasn't like I don't necessarily think that we overlooked them last year. I think that they just had our number. Like they were winning games in the SEC, playing a brand of football, and they just continued to do that. They stuck to the script, and we just ran into them at an inopportune time. What gives me hope about this game is that it's the 10th game of the season. They play a physical brand of football. They're coming off of the Texas game. And they have to at Texas. So, man, it's going to be tough. And like I said, I expect us to put a lot of 10 personnel on the field. If you put Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons, Eric Singleton, and either Horatio or Perry, you put those 4 receivers on the field with a single running back, we will be able to run the football and I don't see us not being able to pick up third downs effectively with that personnel, unless there's just like some catastrophic, just one of our quarterbacks just don't pan out or something like that. Or I like I said, I got this game 35-14, and in a 35-14 game sounds like a blowout on paper, but it could be a very close game.
Yeah, kind of like how the Georgia game was for Auburn last year, because that was a 14-10 game going into the fourth. Like, I mean, that's what he said. Like, I get what you're saying, Ted. That makes sense. That really makes a lot of sense. I get what you're saying. But like I said, I do give Vandy credit on the defense side of the ball, because I think, like I said, I like Fontenette. I think he's gonna play in the NFL. I think they're gonna play in the NFL for real. We'd love to have him at Auburn. Even I'm just being real. But and then of course you got 2 veteran linebackers who in this defense have been in it enough to know what it is supposed to do and how it's supposed to actually, like, what it's actually supposed to do. And how it's actually supposed to, like, what this play is supposed to do, and they can put people in the right positions to make the plays, basically, is what it is. And they make plays themselves. So, I mean, I'm just sitting here and I'm just saying I give them credit, but when it comes down to it, I just look at Auburn's projected 2 deep, and I look at their projected offensive line and the defensive line, and I sit here and I say, there is a talent gap there. There's a talent gap. I'm just gonna be real. On the edges, there's a talent gap. In the middle, there's a talent gap. I just think Auburn overall is better in the trenches. And when it comes to that, when you talk about Auburn going in 10 personnel, what that actually does is it spreads in that 4-2-5. It takes one of those linebackers out the box. So now you only got 5 guys in the box technically, but you got a 6th guy potentially trying to creep his way in. It just opens up natural running lanes for guys to where you can now average 5-6 yards a carry. So, yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, yeah, I feel as if that's the case. I think Auburn is on a mission this year to prove people wrong and just try to and kind of, change the narrative about Auburn before it gets too far off track than that. But also, I just feel like the talent gap is the talent on Auburn's roster this year is just out of this world, man. Like, I saw somebody in the chat put like Vanderbilt talent is not world beaters, but they're world beaters for what they do. I think I saw that. I think I saw somebody put it in the chat. And that's good and all. That's great. It is good. But you got talent that can do everything. That's a different story. That's a different story in any type of situation. So I'm gonna have to ride with Auburn on this one, but I will give Vanderbilt credit, and I'm gonna keep it close. 28-24, somewhere in that range. 28-24, 31-24, somewhere in that range. Auburn.
Somebody just put up a clip. Somebody just made a statement, said that it was a while back when you was posting. They said they were better at quarterback. They were just better at quarterback than we were at that game. And I'm looking at the box score right now. And I'm telling you that they weren't better at quarterback than we were. That game, Diego Pavia went 9 for 22 for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns, a 43.6.
He got hit a lot.
Yeah. QBR. Peyton Thorne threw for 239 yards. He was 20 for 29 with 1 touchdown. And you add in Pavia's rushing yards, he was 12 rushes for 26 yards. So he didn't. This wasn't the game where he just lit up, our defense, from a quarterback standpoint. Peyton Thorne actually had a pretty comparable game to him.
And when you look at a lot of Peyton Thorne's, when you look at a lot of Peyton Thorne's stats from last year, when you look at that, he was a pretty efficient quarterback. It was just the moments, the little things.
Unopportune times.
Just in unopportune times, it just went. It did not go Auburn's way. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Cal. I mean, Georgia. I mean, it's just the little things. It's just things that just did not go Auburn's way. And hopefully this year, that's what Auburn is working on in the offseason, just figuring out how to do the little things right. Because we've seen them do the big things fine. We don't have a problem with that. The big things they do perfectly fine. We sit here and talk about scheme, stuff like that. Yeah, you could have ran the ball here and probably got a better play out of it instead of throwing that. But when you do when you do that, it works. But the thing is, when it does come to the little things, like, and I'm sorry, I don't mean this in any way. If you're watching this, Damari Austin, you have a touchdown and you fumble the ball on the 2-yard line going in for a touchdown. The little things, just holding on to the ball, getting down on the ground. It's just little things like that, checking out of whatever it was. It is what it is. It's just that stuff right there. Ed Darby put up, he said Hugh Freeze didn't help Peyton Thorne either. I agree with you there too. That's a good point. But he loved Jackson Arnold, so maybe we'll see a difference there this year. So it is what it is. Fellas, this has been a great conversation. This is a really good show.
Yeah.
Really good show.
So I just wanted to go on record. For Huggy Beard and Ed and Auburn Dad and everybody. I wasn't being disrespectful when I said the score I did, 36-23. I just think coming off the road, this is Diego Pavia's last year. He's got Auburn and Kentucky left. I think this team's going to be hyped. Langston Patterson, going to be his last stretch run at home. I just think towards the end of the game, they're going to pick off a couple turnovers and gap that score a little bit. Just with the crowd and the frenzy. That's what I anticipate. That's the only reason I said there's a little gap there, is because of extra parameters around the game.
All right. And there it is. That's it. And there it is. Hey, Van Chris, tell them where they can find you at, my guy.
All right. You can find me. I'm a co-host of the Golden Broom podcast. We air on Tuesday nights. We typically talk about college baseball. That's our chest beater. But we also talk about everything else as well. We are a well-rounded show. We air on Tuesday nights on all of the socials, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I even think we stream on Twitch a couple times every now and then. My personal Twitter is Third and Bandy. That's kind of a team page, kind of in the essence of the Barstools type stuff, where I'm on there talking trash. So that's what that is. But yeah, follow us at the Golden Broom podcast. We have a show page on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all the socials. Give us a follow, give us a watch. We'd enjoy your content.
Yeah, man. Y'all make sure y'all go over there and subscribe to the Golden Broom podcast. I was on there last year, as a matter of fact. Got on there, did a little segment. It was only supposed to be on there for like 20 minutes. I think I ended up being on there for like 55, 56 minutes. I took all their time up.
It was a great time. It was a fun time.
It's a great show, man. Make sure y'all go over there and check them out. Y'all actually do more shows during the season, though, right? Those are like an extra day.
During football, we'll do probably 2 nights a week.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah, make sure y'all go over there and check them out, man. Golden Broom podcast, man. Great guys, man. Tez, where can they find you at, my guy?
And y'all can find me at It's SC Season. New channel. Yeah, you guys know the story. No content yet. Still working on it. Man, I've been super busy. I promise I've been saying that for a while, but I'm working on this, man. I want it to be special when it rolls out. And yeah, so it's coming. Hopefully I can get these guys to be a part of it. Vandy Chris, it's my first time meeting you, man. But yeah, I would love to have you on because the channel is based on all of the SEC. So yeah, I would love to get different perspectives from everybody that I can. So yeah,
I'm down.
Yes.
Name a date and a time. I'll be there.
That's what's up.
And I might have an LSU guy for you too.
Oh, awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's up? Telling y'all, man. Golden Broom. Make sure y'all go check it out. Make sure y'all go check out SEC Season as well. Yeah. Marcus, what you gotta say to people before we get up out of here, man?
Y'all know my spell. I see y'all Friday, man. Y'all be safe until then, man.
Yeah, programming note, we won't be live tomorrow. No show tomorrow. We'll be back Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central.
Are you overlooking Mercer?
Nah, we just we're doing Mercer Friday. We actually doing Mercer Friday.
Just messing with you, man.
We got to, man. You never overlook an opponent, even in the podcast space. You never overlook an opponent. That's what
we overlooking Mercer, Hugh Freeze.
So let me ask you. Let me get a little perspective from you.
Go ahead.
Mercer was in the Elite Eight, might have even been in the Final Four of the FCS playoffs last year.
Yeah.
That's a good football team.
We cannot overlook any team right now. That's all I can say. We cannot overlook any team. Auburn does not. We have not been afforded the opportunity where we can just overlook a team. Just being honest with you, we can't do it. We can't do it.
All jokes aside, though, man. If we lose to Mercer, I personally walk to Auburn, and he ain't gonna get on the bus. He won't return with the team. we ain't even leaving Auburn, and he still won't get on the bus. He won't even walk back into his office.
And I don't disagree with Marcus. That's a team you should beat.
True.
But you just can't assume that because that's a really good football team. Yeah. They score a lot of points too.
They do.
You're right.
What if we got 8 wins by then? We dropped one to Mercer. You still ready to fire him?
Yeah.
If you lose to Mercer, he's got to go.
Still got to go. You'll lose again.
Make sure y'all go follow the Avengers of YouTube, man. Make sure y'all go shout out the Sharpshooters podcast, man. Make sure y'all go over there and follow them. Did they get the 1 subscriber back yet?
I don't know if somebody subscribed but then unsubscribed. I hadn't checked to see if they subscribed again, but yeah.
They on the way to 800. That's all we know. They on the way to 800. That's it. We need 800. Yeah. Somebody unsubscribed during the show last night, which was wild. I was like, that's crazy. That's whack.
Be sure you need to chill out, man.
Man, go over there and subscribe to the Sharpshooters podcast. Get them to 803. Get them to 803. So if it happens, you don't have to worry about it. Just get them to 803. That's what we need to do. But yeah, man, make sure I go follow Sharpshooters podcast. Go follow Blake and Dustin over at the Uptempo podcast as well. I got the one and only DC Wolf from Auburn Addicts TV. Make sure y'all go over there and follow him. And of course, the guy, the myth, the legend, Tight Sport from Tight Sports and Alabama Football Megacast as well. And of course, make sure y'all go follow Bubba and the Old Man. They just dropped a video today. So make sure y'all make sure y'all go watch Bubba and the Old Man over on Bubba and the Old Man Auburn Sports Talk. They dropped a video earlier today. Go check that out. It was pretty good, man. We had some people come in real quick. Ed said, no disrespect, Vandy Chris said with your chest. That's what he said. No disrespect, said with your chest. He said, oh, Vandy Chris, a baseball guy. That's what explains a lot. The legend of Sweet Sugar Bear Williams, Rooster Mac, the Huggy Beard. That's who he is. Shout out to Tim, man. What's good, fam? Late. But nah, man, you good, Tim. You always is. It's all good, man. Huggy Beard said, man, all right, everybody. It's Huggy bedtime. Y'all stay super fly. You heard me. Same to you. All right, man.
You noticed Tight had to run away, right?
Tight, man.
I've been picking on him the last couple of weeks. He had to run away.
Shout out to Tight, man. And before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all follow us on Facebook at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, man. On Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. On Twitter at CoolerSpot23. And of course, subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell button here on YouTube. So you know when we post more videos and go live. Remember, we won't be live tomorrow. We'll be back Friday, live 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Back around the water cooler, man. Chris, we appreciate you so much for rocking with us tonight, man. Whenever you want to come back, man, just let us know and we'll drop you in. Come on, during the season, whenever.
Sounds good. I'd love to come back. And before the show ends, I just want to drop an Auburn nugget on you guys.
Okay.
I'm hearing rumors that
don't say nothing about Butch Thompson. Don't say it.
That a certain baseball coach at Auburn might be getting an extension and is no longer on the hot board at Mississippi State.
I'm saying, good job. Shout out to Butch Thompson. Keep him at Auburn. Keep it at Auburn. Keep it at Auburn, man. Keep him at Auburn. That's what I'm talking about.
Keep him there. Deserves a raise.
Deserves.
He does.
Very true.
He does.
Very true. All right, man. We don't overstate our welcome to everybody. We thank y'all so much for continuing to rock with us, man. Let's get up out of here. As always, man, y'all have a good one. Better yet, y'all have a great one. Y'all be blessed, man. Make sure y'all give the man upstairs above his because he deserves all the praise and all the glory. Shout out to God, man. And as always, it is one love. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? We out.
Boys and girls of all ages, you're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Water Cooler Talks with your hosts, Nick Frazier and Marcus Fitzpatrick. Make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode.